Alrighty, welcome back to East to West Coast Sports. I'm just going to recap the Warriors versus Atlanta game last night as it had, more implications for the Warriors' future in the playoffs or play-in tournament. So let's jump right into that. So obviously they lost. I think again the biggest reason here is defense, personnel. Start off with John Collins, pulling three-pointers out of nowhere. He was 4 for 4 in the first half, just couldn't miss. He is not a shooter like that, at least. He's a good player, but he's not a shooter like that. So, what is it about playing the Warriors? Have we come to a point where teams are just so confident, even just matching up with the Warriors are like, oh, let me just bomb this, and yeah, of course, John Collins had a couple that were good looks, but he also had a couple that were contested. So did he catch a rhythm? And then they were like, and then he just turned into Klay Thompson. It's just, it baffles me the difference between Chase and road 3-point percentage by our opponents. It's like a staggering 6 or 7% higher on the road. So players are just shooting much better at home, or is our defense? I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. So, that again played a big factor into the reasons why the Warriors couldn't get out on the break, catch a defensive break. It just, yeah, it was bad overall. Really missed Draymond in this game. I think he would have been a good matchup for some of these bigger players on Atlanta, or even John Collins or whoever. I mean, he can roam and close out like no one else on our team. So I think he was definitely missed. He wasn't as missed on the offense as maybe I thought, or it's just one of those matchups where we just didn't need Draymond. We did go on those scoring droughts, which was unfortunate, but that happens even with Draymond. So I don't think his biggest contribution as of late actually has been on the offense, setting up Klay or Steph or Poole or whoever. He was really missed on defense. I mean, his effort in the game before was just magnificent. I mean, he was guarding the paint while being able to close out on shooters. So he was really missed, and it was a bummer that he got the tech when he did. Although this is the better matchup for us to win without Draymond, still it's just like, come on, Draymond, we need you. Like, you're such a big part of this team, and you've gotten 16 technicals, and so you miss a game. No defense by Poole, standard these days now. I mean, he's just a traffic cone out there, unfortunately, and it's so frustrating because his physical abilities, he's quick-footed, he's got quick hands, he's got long arms, yet he just doesn't give a shit. He really doesn't. He doesn't know how to gap manage. He doesn't know how to stay in front of his defenders. He doesn't know how to predict moves. He doesn't know how to box out. He doesn't know how to, fight over screens. It's really sad. And it's an effort thing. I mean, yeah, maybe some of it is mental, but it's an effort thing for Poole. And it's starting to really affect, I think, how people look at him on the Warriors, how Warriors fans look at him overall. And he had a terrible offensive night. So what do? You can't play him. And he's a, 25, $30 million player next year, not this year. Lamb's back. Rough game for him offensively. I thought he played pretty well. It definitely looked like his legs were fresh, from the time off. He was hustling for rebounds. He was definitely battling guys bigger, much bigger than he is. He had some good boards. He had some good putback layups. He didn't hit any threes, but you can't really expect Lamb to always hit threes. He's not like a DiVincenzo big, right? He's going to have games where he does hit, but he's also going to have games where his shooting is a little bit off. But overall, I thought it was a decently good game for him. I'm glad we signed him. On that note, I wish we would waive Iggy and then sign Jerome as well. I don't know why they're just. I mean, Iggy's having wrist surgery, so what is he gonna come back this year? I think we're gonna be out of the playoffs by the time he's available. Speaking of bigs, Looney looks tired. He was battling out there, man. He was battling. He was getting, 2 or 3 guys on him for rebounds. He had a couple that were really nice in the first half. He just looks tired, man. He needs some time off, and we can't afford. I mean, we can't sit guys. Like, Draymond was out, so of course we can't sit Looney, but we can't sit guys. And now it's just like we're putting Looney out there who can only play like 20 minutes because every night he's battling every big that they have, and there's no backup for him to help, ease some of that stress. It sucks because I love Looney. I think Looney is one of the most underrated players, and if you're a diehard Warriors fan, you know how important Looney is. But we just need a secondary big, and this season may be a wash, but in the off season we need some backup for Looney and Draymond. Talking about the free throws here, we were winning the free throw battle for quite a while, which just means we were hustling on the offensive boards or just trying to get downhill to the cup, and that was playing a pretty big role until the end. Until we weren't, we were settling for jump shots, and we weren't getting to the free throw line, and then Atlanta was getting to the free throw line. I hate to complain about this, but the tic-tacky fouls that other teams seem to get, now we'll get some too, but Steph Curry never gets them. I don't understand. I truly do. I'll be watching replays. Dude will be shuffling his feet. Maybe he'll have one hand near the other player on the back, on his elbow area. I don't know, but just the tic-tacky fouls that we get called for, it's just not fun to watch. No one wants to watch an NBA game where you're constantly seeing free throws being attempted. So I think a big would have solved a lot of these problems. I think a big would have helped with securing defensive rebounds and getting out on the break. The Clippers game was a huge example of needing one more big body. I think we could have won that Clippers game with how well our offense was moving. I think we honestly could have won that game had we had some additional support on the boards. We were just getting out-rebounded by bigger guys. That's really what it was coming down to. Sort of same thing here. Atlanta doesn't have anyone who's just like a monster like a Zubac or whoever, but they have some big guys that are athletic. So, if the ball is roughly near them, they're going to be going for it, and they're probably going to get it compared to our guys. One thing that I was thinking of too on offense that we haven't had for this season and last season is a lob threat. And I was thinking specifically of the JaVale McGee days where he was just, his role was set screens, get rebounds, and roll hard to the basket. And we haven't had a player like that. I know Wiseman was supposed to be that player, but we haven't had a player like that in a while. And I think that alone would help open up some of our shooting a little bit more. We are completely reliant on guys overplaying us, so there's back cuts, or getting through multiple screens so Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or whoever can actually get a decent look. But JaVale or Iggy or someone else, they were sort of the safety valve there when those actions were not working. And we haven't had that for 2 seasons. And I hope we can get a player like JaVale. I know JaVale's fallen out of favor with his team, so I'm a little bummed that they didn't buy him out, but that's probably just a strategic move, or a backup just in case someone gets hurt on that team. It just sucks, man. We need someone who can just do the little things, because Looney can do so many. I mean, he's a great rebounder. He's a great defender. He knows how to stay down. He can, relatively defend on the perimeter, but he is not a lob threat. He relies on a pump fake or just creating a little space with his shoulder, and then he makes a layup. JaVale McGee was a legit lob threat. I mean, you could toss the ball up to him, basically from the free throw line, and he would go and get it and jam it, or he would get fouled. And I think we need that on our team. We play a lot of teams who have that, and that just usually destroys us. Memphis tonight, kind of expecting a loss, to be honest. I mean, unless Draymond comes out and he puts up 15 and 12 with 10 assists, right? A big triple-double. I don't know. I don't see it with this team. Steph, he had a pretty good game last night. Still wasn't even close. We're going to need a lot from Steph. I think Klay sort of due to have a big game too, where he just goes nuclear, maybe a 20-point quarter or something like that. At this point, we're 0-2 on the road trip, and what we have left is Memphis tonight. We have the weekend off, or the rest of the weekend off, Houston on Monday, and then Dallas on Wednesday. So if we can win these 3, which are winnable games, I mean, especially Houston and Dallas, but if we can get Memphis, get some momentum, get a little bit of rest here, and then go into Houston and Dallas and win those, it'll be a successful road trip. We should have won this game, so we could have lost tonight essentially. But if we can win Memphis, then I feel a lot more confident about salvaging this road trip in general. All right, guys, tough loss, but catch you in the next one. Bye.